baseball night in New York here on Geico Sports Night. Andy Martino, Mark Malusis, and Sal Licata. So now that he's here, now that this is a reality, what kind of effect do we think he'll have on this lineup, Andy?
Well, tonight it didn't look so good. In fact, those at-bats, as Reyes mentioned, it felt like for him the first day he'd been in the big leagues. It's hard to evaluate. I talked to a scout who'd seen him in AAA with Albuquerque when he was still with the Rockies, who thought that he looked pretty good. So I'm not giving up on him performance-wise, but it was a weird night. I mean, I don't blame Reyes for being emotional. Obviously, he was trying to do too much, at least in that first at-bat and probably through the whole night. It was a weird scene. I was out there. I mean, the cheering was way over the top. I understand why it made him feel good, but also, I guess he was pressing because of that reaction he was getting. You have fans who were, it's nice that they wanted to welcome him, but the standing ovation felt a little off. So it was just a very strange night with very strange vibes out at Citi Field. And I think once we get past that, as we now are, it'll be easier to start evaluating what he has left as a baseball player.
Yeah, and with that being said, I mean, he was pretty realistic today that before the game when he addressed the media, he said, listen, he was told he was 33 years of age. He goes, I'm 33, and that's exactly what he is. And he's no longer the player he once was, but he was also open and honest, said, I provide some speed to this team. And you look at it, there is not a lot of speed on this team. He provides an opportunity to go out there, jumpstart this offense at the top of the lineup. But I also think we have to be realistic of the expectations of what Reyes is physically right now. He made sure everyone was perfectly clear. He doesn't have the same speed that he did. He's not going to go out there and steal 50, 60 bases moving forward here. That's not happening. But he can go out there and provide a little bit of spark and certainly provide speed on the base pass and help this lineup out.
So I thought it was interesting on Twitter earlier this afternoon, you're talking about Flores and how necessarily it's not the end of the world if he has to play other positions, not necessarily maybe start every day, because that's what's interesting when you talk about the effect Reyes will have on this lineup. A lot of people right now are saying, what will Flores do?
Well, right, and then they're talking about the timing of it. Oh, the Mets are red hot, coming off the sweep against the Cubs, the comeback yesterday. Why bring Reyes up now and then maybe sit Flores, or obviously tonight, instead of Flores, it was Walker who's going to take a seat. Look, they're going to mix and match. They're going to be more versatile. So against the lefties, of course, Wilmer Flores is going to play. Reyes is going to be in there against lefties, and they want him to lead off. Let's not forget, though, that after you get over the nostalgia part for the Met fans and all those different things that, as you guys touched on, he's not the same player that he once was. He's not going to be asked to do that ultimately, though. You can't. He replaced the 25th man on the roster. So to throw him in there and say he's going to lead off and get on base and create this great spark, not realistic. He's going to take him a while to get going, and at best you hope he can provide some speed at the top of the order at a part-time basis. I don't think it's realistic to think Reyes is going to be an everyday leadoff hitter for a National League Championship team.
Right, you make good points about Wilmer Flores, because people are talking, he had 6 hits in one game. I mean, it felt like he had 6 hits in the first 2 months of the season.
It's true.
Collins made that point. You could see him getting a little frustrated at the press conferences before the game. And what are you going to do with Flores? What does this mean for Flores? And Terry finally was like, before he had 6 hits, Wilmer was not that good. I mean, that's not exactly what he said, but that was what he was basically trying to tell us. So this whole idea that getting Flores out of that role is somehow like terribly disruptive to the team is kind of silly.
Yeah, but it could be disruptive to Flores. I mean, he starts to pick it up a little bit, and all of a sudden you have Reyes, who wasn't hitting down the minor leagues, gets the opportunity all of a sudden reinserted at third base when he's nowhere near the player that he once was, and all of a sudden he gets that kind of respect. So that's where I think people are looking at where this team was riding a little bit of a hot hand, and you do get Reyes at the top of the lineup tonight, and Reyes really didn't do all that much. So, but it'll be much better moving forward.
And the point is, Flores is going to get his at-bats, and his job in particular to come into this year was to mash lefties. If they sat him tonight against a lefty, then you could say, oh, Reyes is taking his spot. That was not the case. Now, while you're sitting Neil Walker, one of your best hitters, that's another issue. Right. But again, in today's age with the lack of amphetamines and all those things, guys are going to get days off. That's why they want Reyes to be a versatile guy.
And do you get the sense, Andy, that they're actually going to try this outfield thing with Jose Reyes, playing him in center field, or do you think they want to test the waters with third base and they'll eventually go with what's safe, which is the infield for him?
I was surprised that he didn't get any time in center field in the minor leagues, so that indicates to me that it might be one of those like Travis d'Arnaud at first base kind of deals.
Right, that's why I bring it up, because it has that feel.
Doesn't actually happen. But then again, Terry threw Matt Reynolds out there without any warning, so maybe someday he just hits us with a lineup where Jose's in the outfield.
Right, so my team's built around pitching. I'm going to stick Reyes in center field.
Yeah, and why would you do that with Lagares?
Hasn't happened yet.
If Lagares is healthy.
But does not really it makes no sense whatsoever.
If Lagares is healthy, why are you doing that? And Conforto's coming back soon anyway. You got Nimmo you want to work in the lineup. They don't need an outfielder right now, so Reyes doesn't have to go out there. Jose Reyes should be a 25th man on this roster.
Not everyone can be Ian.
That's what he is right now.
Desmond.
As you brought up, Sal, that's what he is right now. He took over the 25th spot, and that's his role. Andy Martino, Mark Malusis, and Sal Licata.